The gentleman yields back. Ms. Sewell is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My questions are for you, Secretary Gray. I've read with great interest about your election integrity agenda, especially the proof of citizenship law that was passed by Wyoming State Legislature. You must have had rampant voter fraud to make it necessary to pass such restrictive laws. So my question to you is, what is the number of voter election fraud cases in your state of Wyoming over the, say, last 20 years?
Well, Congresswoman Sewell, it's sort of a circular question. I've seen this a lot from.
You know, I'm going to reclaim my time since I have very limited time. I'm going to let you know that it's only one case. And this isn't data from some far left think tank. This is data collected from the Heritage Foundation. Mr. Chairman, I would like to ask unanimous consent to enter into the record this report by the Heritage Foundation that shows that the state of Wyoming has only had one case of voter fraud.
Without objection.
Mr. Gray, or Secretary Gray, as I'm sure you know, President Trump has recently called for the federal government to, quote, take over elections. You're a state elected official. What branch of government has the legal right to administer elections? Does the President of the United States have the authority to administer and nationalize elections?
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Congresswoman, first I'd like to state that I disagree with your previous assertion about only one example.
Well, you know,
I'd also
evidence, sir, with all due respect, this is my time.
Thank you.
So the evidence speaks for itself. The fact of the matter is that it seems to me that we're solving for a problem we're offering a solution for a problem that doesn't exist, is what I'm saying. I can answer the question also as to who's in charge of administering elections. Neither the President nor Congress has the right to run elections. Article 1, Section 4, Clause 1 of the Constitution is very clear. The time, place, and manner of holding elections shall be prescribed in each state by the legislature thereof. Now, Congress can alter the regulation of elections. However, the President has no legal authority to decide which ballots are counted, and he certainly cannot administer elections himself. Mr. Chairman, I must say, voting rights used to be wildly bipartisan, and lately it has been so partisan. This committee should not be involved in the President's scheme to rig this year's midterm election and this disinformation campaign to legitimize lies and myths about rampant voter fraud by non-citizens, where we already have laws in the books that say that non-citizens, it is illegal for them to vote. Mr. Gray, on January 22nd, 2026, Secretary Gray, just a couple of weeks ago, you put out a press release in your official capacity as Wyoming Secretary of State that announced your top 5 election integrity priorities, which included eliminating Medicare, Medicaid, and student IDs as acceptable forms of identification for voting. This provision is also in the mega bill as well. What is the problem with using student IDs or IDs like federal IDs like Medicare and Medicaid? And why do we find them so objectionable?
Mr. Chairman, Congresswoman, the issue with many of these IDs is that they don't have photos on them. That's one of the issues.
Sir, and so
how do you have,
with all due respect, we have already established that voter fraud in your state is basically non-existent. So there can't be any reason for restricting the types of IDs more frequently used by low-income and elderly Americans. The real reason suggests to me that you're picking the voters who can actually vote. And eliminating students or making it harder for students who've reached the age of 18 to vote, to me, sounds very discriminatory. Ms. Boland, I ask you the same question I asked Secretary Gray. Do you know the number of reported cases of election fraud in the state of Michigan over the last 20 years? I can tell you, since my time is running out, it's 19 cases, 19 out of 64,520,000 ballots cast. That's a rate of 0.0002% of fraud. Mr. Chairman, I ask for unanimous consent to enter into the record the Heritage Foundation's election fraud map that shows this point. Nobody should be fooled by what's going on here today. The only thing mega about this bill is that it's mega voter suppression. The rate of voter fraud is almost non-existent relative to the number of ballots cast in each election. The Republicans' voter suppression agenda is simply designed to appease Trump and to set the stage for a takeover and nationalization of elections. The Trump agenda is rooted in anti-immigrant conspiracy theories aimed at disfranchising young people, women, the elderly, people of color. And 1 in 3 eligible voters in America do not participate in our elections for a host of reasons, and 25% of eligible voters in America are not even registered. Instead of conducting this charade, I would prefer the time of this committee to be used trying to make sure that all Americans have the right to access the ballot box and to vote. And with that, sir, I yield back the balance of my time.
The gentleman yields back. The gentleman from Georgia, Mr. Loudermilk.